It's the final day of AIDS 2022 at the world's largest conference on HIV and AIDS. And this year's theme was Re-engage and Follow the Science. I caught up with Dr. Laura Waters from the Mortimer Market Centre in London on what she's taking away from the conference, as well as what she knows right now about monkeypox and those of us living with HIV.
I think for people living with HIV anywhere in the world, they can look forward to being engaged and invited, if they wish, to actually help improve the HIV response, help deliver those outcomes across their communities. The challenge, I think, is to maintain the momentum, to maintain the drive to deliver a lot of the things that we've heard about today. So I think it's beholden on all of us to make sure that our energy, our commitment, our belief in the science is taken to those bodies, those organisations, those governments that make the decisions that truly impact people, because unfortunately the HIV field alone cannot address those inequalities and those inequities. We need to challenge the people who really have the power to do that.
Have you heard or read anything that talks specifically about monkeypox and HIV positive men, well, HIV positive people, and what the effects are?
I think in the countries that have managed to generate data so far, then HIV is generally very well controlled. So most of the people with HIV in some of the studies describing the outcomes of people with monkeypox, these are people with good CD4 counts, undetectable viral load. I think more concerningly, there was a big session, and within that session, though I didn't see the specific data, there was a suggestion that the 10 as yet unconfirmed formally deaths of monkeypox during this current global outbreak, that there was a link with immunocompromise, and I guess the assumption is that that means people with HIV. So I think we really need to understand more, and it's about making the information general. Anyone can get monkeypox, but then you deliver that information in a targeted way. So that message hits Grindr, it hits whichever websites people may be using, but it's a general message, because we know that labeling a particular group of people or a group of people who partake in particular behaviors is stigmatizing.
Some of the brightest and best minds in the fight against HIV/AIDS, as well as activists from around the world, gathered here in Montreal to share their hopes for an HIV/AIDS-free world.
I was very encouraged by the number of countries, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, that were reaching their targets. The provision of life-saving medication for the person living with HIV will save that person's life, allow them to be a productive member of society in a life expectancy that when we get even better and better ways of getting people on treatment, by getting treatments that are more user-friendly, long-acting, other types of approaches, that we will have in society a productive group that, instead of draining society in the sense of healthcare costs, that they will be actually putting into the economy of society.
For me, the HIV response now has to move out of the clinic even more than it has already, because we have the drugs that work, we've got phenomenal medical interventions, and now we need to be raising the awareness, we need to be changing criminalization laws, we need to removing criminalization laws, addressing stigma and discrimination, and really dealing with those sort of everyday challenges that people face to access drugs and to be able to achieve U equals U.
It's thanks to the activism and the leadership and the uncompromising position of people living with HIV that not only did the initial forms of treatment in the 1980s and the 1990s then get turned into heart and ART as we know it today, but continued activism to say, okay, we're actually not going to stop until everyone, everywhere have access to the same quality of of effective, affordable, and safe antiretroviral medicines.
Everyone should be HIV positive, not from a blood test, but from a perspective. Positive about helping us eradicate this virus, positive about making the environment safe for people living with HIV, and positive about people reaching undetectable viral loads. U equals U.
Well, that's going to do it for Plus Life Media at AIDS 2022. Be sure to check out our website and the Plus Life Media YouTube channel for the full interviews from across the last 5 days here at the conference. We'll be putting them up real soon.